Okay, hi Mabel.
Hi, Farah.
Thank you so much for joining us today for our alignment to climax the alignment month. My theme for the month has been growth in alignment, and for anyone that has been in our group or in our community, you see that we've been posting things related to growth and alignment. So to climax the month, I spoke to Mabel because I've heard a bit about her journey, and her journey just means I don't know. It's a lot relating to growth and alignment, and so I just wanted her to share her story with us today. Um, what are some of the things that influenced her decision to get to where she is now and all that, and then hopefully we can learn from her. I know she has a lot to say, a lot to teach us. Yeah, so um we'll just go right into it. Okay, so Mabel, please tell us a bit about yourself, your journey, where you are, where you were, where you are now, so that we can appreciate the process.
Thank you so much, Pearl. I'm really happy to see everyone on the call, particularly with Wisdom, is my brother.
Oh.
Yeah. Um, okay, from another mother. So, getting right into it, I'd say that for me, I've spent all my life in operations, right? I have, right from uni, I got the opportunity um, to head a branch office of an organization here in Accra. The headquarters is in Accra. But right in after uni, I went to a little story about that is interesting. So I went to speak to the director. Mind you, I have a past relationship with them because you know how we go to school, we're in uni, and after vacation, we want to do internships here and there.
Yeah.
So I would occasionally just go there and do my internship. But I mean, we're about to complete, right? And we're all agitated around what to do after school. So I went to this managing director who is really, he's now one of my mentors.
Okay.
He's, he's really, really respectful. He's very kind and really accommodating. And so I told him, you know what, I want to pitch this idea to you. I've been harboring it, I've been cooking it for a while, and I see myself do well with this idea. It's really capital intensive, but trust me, I would multiply your money for you. So I went to him with the idea and I told him, there's this business idea. Would you want to join? Would you want to fund me? And then you own a part of the business. And he says to me that, you know what, right now I'm looking for millions, billions. I know this your idea will give us a few thousands of CDs, but that's not really what I'm looking at. And I was bummed.
Mm.
But I didn't know that all the time that I went back to him, all the time I went to him and I pitched. I came back because he had said no to me and I refined the idea and I went back to him again because of course I really, really wanted him to fund the idea. I knew he had the resources. It wasn't just about the money, it was about the connections for me. Um, the kind of business he does, I wanted to leverage on the people he knew to build the resource for that kind of business I was pitching to him. I didn't know that all the time that I went to him to speak, he was interviewing me for a role. And so right after school, after my national service at Institute of Chartered Accountant in Kumasi, he told me that, you know what, Mabel, I want you to head the branch in Cape Coast. And I said, why? You know, I don't want to be a 9 to 5, if there's anything like that. Right? So why? And honestly, deep down within me, I felt like I was too small for that role.
Oh.
That role is really, really big. But he had seen what he had seen. He felt like I could handle the role and do so well. And so I spoke to my dad about it, and he says, "Well, you can do it." He was really, really excited. I mean, who completes uni or just national service and gets to head a branch? That's crazy. You have to start from somewhere. But yeah, it really is crazy. But I went back to him. I negotiated my salary. I told him, you know what, this is small. I want this. I want that. I want that because I have to leave Accra, the comfort space of mine, the protection of my family, all of that. I have to be in Cape Coast all by myself. And he says, okay. So this is what I'll do. I'll do this and that and then that. And trust me, it was a beautiful role. It's what launched me into becoming a manager, into operations, pretty much. And so from then, all my roles have been branch manager, operations manager, all of that. So I like to say that I have spent um, until my recent role now. I would like to say that I spent all my years in operations. And even so, my recent role, I am still in operations. I handle partnerships, but I am not. I wouldn't say that I'm the operations manager. I'm part of a team. I support one major aspect of it, and we ensure that the operations in the organization is up and doing. So yeah, that's pretty much a bit about me. I have spent all my life in operations. I have led teams. I have built and led teams. I have supported the work, and with a little background in economics, um, I think that it's just helped my success in those kind of roles. Now I work in nonprofits. I have moved away from the for-profit industry. I'm working now in a nonprofit sector as the program coordinator there in operations. Like I said, and I handle particularly partnerships in that organization. Yeah, so that's
Um,
just a brief story.
that's
Uh,
no, that's an amazing thing. I know you have your own business and
right.
something that you do like part time. How's that journey to been like now? Combining 9 to 5 and then your own business, and also like spanning from the space of like sales and marketing, trying to get the numbers for these profit companies, and then now moving into a non-profit. Like how have you been able to coordinate all these things?
Yeah, thank you for that. So I feel like the numbers still work.
Mm,
You will still have to meet the numbers somehow, and except that it's not really in monetary terms.
mm,
So being the head of sales and marketing at my previous organization, of course, we had certain targets. Aside the numbers in monetary terms, we also had to see the numbers in the number of clients that translated into that kind of money. But in this space, particularly working in a nonprofit that drives or works with a lot of data, the numbers are still working. So the numbers are still very, very, very much important. But for the side of my side hustle, so it's actually the business that I was referring to early on when I said
okay.
I went to pitch the idea to my director.
Yeah.
So it will interest you to know that I never stopped pitching that idea to him, even when I was the branch manager in Cape Coast. So anytime we had to do catch ups, just to see what is happening, what's roadblocks, what I'm encountering um, as difficulties in the branch or even as successes. Anytime I had to speak to him, at the tail end of the conversation, informally, I was still hint at him that, you know what, the business is still there. The stats are growing. It shows that there's a lot of money sitting there. And it's not just a few hundred thousands of CDs, it's launching into the millions. And he saw that, I wouldn't relent. I was still
Yeah.
continue to, yeah, just tell him that, you know what, there's still money there. You told me it's just money you want. For me, it was the passion. So it was my human hair business. So way back in uni, it wasn't just about the human hair. Any outfit that I wore, people would ask, "Where did you buy it?" I'll tell them I got it from here. And so I felt like, no, now I have to sell it because they're asking, "Can you get the lady to bring us some of the clothes?" And so I indeed allowed the woman to bring the clothes without paying for it. So she'd give it to me. I'll bring it to campus. People come to my room, make the selection, and pay for it. And of course, my cut is on it, right?
Yeah.
That's what started it for me. And then it came to the hair. Anytime I'll fix my hair, They will ask me, where did you buy it? Others will tell you, okay, could you go with me to the store where you got it from? And then I'll make the calls. The lady will bring it and I'll sell it like that. But I was particularly just fascinated about hair, but about human hair, not just any kind of hair. And I remember when my grandma bought me my first human hair brand. It's called the Milky Way. It's an American human hair brand. Quite expensive at the time, but my grandmother bought it for me just to console me, I think, because I always say that, I mean, what made her do that for me? And at the time, I was still grieving the loss of my mom, and I felt like my grandmother did it to sort of console me,
Yeah.
right? And she didn't know that she wasn't just consoling me; she was actually feeding a passion
Yeah.
that would go on and on and on, and will become a big business. So that's what started it for me. I took this, I wore it. I went to school and people were just crazy in love with the hair. I said, okay, well, I sell it. And they said, you
Mm.
do? I said, yes, I do. Meanwhile, I don't. So the
Mm.
idea came, Tema, get the hair and then put my card in and set, just flip it like that. And the passion grew so much so that I'll pick my book and write it down, note for note, how I see the vision.
Mhm.
And this was particularly important for me because I felt like it wasn't just one of those dreams. It wasn't just the dream that, oh, one of those dreams I had where, oh, because I can sing in church, I could be a musician. I
Yeah.
never wrote it down and even note for note how I was going to go through the process of becoming a big star. It wasn't one of those because I could play the piano, because I went to a music school. I'm going to be the best, pianist or whatever. This is a different kind of passion for me. And the vision was so vivid that I could still remember the book, the dress I was wearing, even when I was writing it down,
Mhm.
right? So it was so important for me. So even when I was a branch manager, I would still be pitching this idea to him. And when the time came that I had to move from that role, um, because of a new phase in my life, I had to sort of transition and just take a break. My director was like, you know what, I so do not want you to go, but I understand this phase of your life that you're in. So what I'm going to do is that, that idea that you have been pitching to me, I'm going to give you this X amount of money to start the business. I'm not only going to give you that money, I'm going to give you the contact person in China and in India. Those two people, you're going to work directly with them. So I'm going to remove myself and just build whatever thing we have written down with them. It felt like a dream.
Wow.
And all right, it felt like a dream. And the amount of money that was invested into the business till this day still sounds like a dream, even when I mentioned the amount. And so that business has been a baby. So combining that now with my 9 to 5 has been a struggle. In fact, it has been a struggle over the years. You know how entrepreneurship is.
Mm.
Is hard. I'm sure we all know, right?
Mm.
It's hard. It's a difficult journey. There are a lot of downs than the ups, if you
Mm.
ask me. Because of a number of reasons, which I'm sure we'll talk about that later. But combining that now with what I do, I'm not even shy to say that it's a bit difficult. Um, I have chosen to prioritize one aspect of my life over the other, particularly when it comes to my career. I have chosen to amplify what I'm doing now with a lot of my time, or by dedicating a lot of my time to it, and just deprioritizing that side of my business. But those who still know that I sell hair, I still sell the hair, but I'm saying that I have deprioritized it because it's not where I actually wanted to go. So I think that yesterday in our conversation, when we met at the LinkedIn Women's Connect,
Yeah.
I was telling you and I think one other person, Akosia, that I'm in a process of building a team to relaunch it,
Mm.
and yes, give it a full face, and then just give it the big outdoor presence that it needs. So it hasn't really, um, it hasn't died. That dream or passion hasn't died. It's still in the process of being relaunched, but it has been difficult actually juggling those two things, being a 9 to 5 and then that side of my life as an entrepreneur. So that's a long answer to your to your question.
You know, one of one of the things about these sessions is because is that sometimes you have some questions lined up, but sometimes the way the storyline will even go,
Right?
then the questions are just anyway. Let's just keep on track.
Exactly.
I remember when I was posting about growth and alignment and all that. You came to me and asked me what would growth and alignment mean in terms of your career. And honestly, I'll be honest, I struggled to answer that question because I think at that time we hadn't really spoken in a while. I didn't know where you were. I didn't know how you transitioned into your new role. I don't know. I think life just happened. So at some point,
Right?
I even sent some voice notes and I was like, no, I might miss it. So at that time, I listened to a certain podcast and I think I shared it with you. And I told you that I was going to ask you again
Yeah.
if you were able to figure it out. Yes, so
Yeah.
I want to find out. Were you able to figure it out? If yes, can you share with us?
Right. Well,
Mm,
Pal, you just pulled a shocker.
mm,
Well, I think that it's good that you bring it up to personalize the conversation that we're having here
yeah,
and to just show that these things are real. We go through those
yeah,
phases. Sometimes the pendulum will just swing
yeah,
to one side of it,
mm,
but if it's not swinging to where we really want it to, we have to just genuinely and gradually swing it back to where we want it to be.
yeah,
And I think that I'm either there or in the middle of that kind of swing.
yeah,
I say this to mean that I know that it's time to grow. I
mm,
know that growth is, we can think of growth as expanding, right?
yeah,
Um, Let me mute this. We can think of growth as expanding, just grabbing this, going into this direction, going into one direction, because we're humans. We're not just influenced by one thing in our life. There's so many things pulling us apart. And if you're a woman in my case, and you're a wife, and you're a mother, there are a number of things,
yeah,
right? And so now I have come to believe that growth is more depth than expansion.
yeah,
So I'm in a phase of my life where I see growth to be finding more deeper connections,
yeah,
particularly with myself and even the people I engage, the people I work with, and finding deeper connections in what it means in my career.
mm,
So if I'm finding a deeper connection with myself, it means that I want to be more self aware. I want to understand my triggers now. I want to understand what it will mean if I pursue this career, if I pursue this course, if I want to do my masters, if I want to get the certifications, if I want to, just those things.
mm,
And that's what growth is it's meaning to me right now. And that coming to understand that is actually helping me to sort of answer the question that
mm,
we were talking about.
mm,
And if you're connecting it with alignment, I feel like alignment is is something we attain every day, right?
yeah,
And it's based off of our inner values.
yeah,
So who am I? What am I guided by? And for me, I sit with spirituality. If you know, and I'm sure you know,
yeah,
I always sleep with what I believe in. My Bible principles do not leave me in any way.
yeah,
I feel like it's a center of my growth and my alignments, and that's where
mm,
everything comes together properly
mm,
for me. And so sometimes even at work, you know how the corporate world is now
mm,
become ruthless. I think
yeah,
one time I was putting together a write up for LinkedIn about that. It's just everything is just ruthlessness right
hmm,
now. And if you're so calm and you're nice and you seek peace, sometimes you're looked at as a fool,
yeah,
right? And I feel like it's a sad world we live in. And so if you're not playing by the games in the corporate world,
you'll be
if
left
you're not
out.
being as right, if you're not being as ruthless, you are eaten.
Yeah.
It's like you're not eating, you're either eating or some like, or you eat, right?
Yeah.
And people choose to eat.
Yeah.
And I feel like I cannot live, it's so contrary to the kind of principles that I live in.
Mm-hmm.
And if you continuously preach peace and continuously project yourself to be that way, sometimes people think you're too nice.
Yeah.
Okay. And but for me, I stick with that. My spirituality is full on center of my life, and it's what is guiding me to find what growth means to me, and to find what alignment means to me. And that kind of synergy is what is guiding me right now.
Yeah.
And so sometimes when I find myself in a situation where I'm a bit confused, it's telling me I need to stop.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, I need to take a pause and just be in solitude,
Mm-hmm.
because it's in that solitude where I would find the answers.
Exactly.
Yes, and it's in that solitude where I will find the break that I need, because it's a lot of things. I wake up every day, we're pulled into so much. The kids need you, your husband needs you, you need yourself,
Yeah.
the work needs you.
Mm-hmm.
You feel like you never finish the work in a day. You
Yeah.
have to stay up to continue. Like it's a lot of things. It's a lot of things. Others are coming in, you want to bag it up, you want to, you don't even have to. It's a crazy world.
Yeah.
Trust me. And the distractions and the noise are a lot. So sometimes you just have to tune out and go into solitude to find whatever answer we're looking for to whatever question. And so I think that for me, I've come to appreciate that I have to remain in solitude
Yeah.
and to find myself, just go back to God and allow Him to take control. And what I do is that I just tell Him that I'm giving Him room today. Like I'm tired of just thinking about it, whether to move in this direction of my career or to move in that direction. Like He should do it for me. And guess what? It's in that time of solitude that I'm able to reflect and
Mm-hmm.
remember that this situation, He did this for you when you told Him that He should take control, and He did. So why don't you repeat this now?
Yeah.
So I even wrote in my journal that this is day one of allowing Him. If I ever took the reins from Him, this is day one of allowing Him. This is day two, and I see so much improvement that I cannot even continue to speak to here. So the answer to what you said, I have found the growth, I have found the alignment, I have found the direction, and it's I continue to see it every day, and I continue to now work towards it
Mm.
every day. Yeah.
So you answered the question exactly how I wanted you to. So
Okay.
yes, so for you know, we plan a lot. I mean, we say, "Oh, I want to do this. I want to do that. I want to do this. I want to
Right.
do that." And I don't know. For some of us, ideas are all over. Like you can just wake up one day, and and you have an idea you want to execute.
Keep it from
Yeah, you have an idea you want to execute, but it becomes overwhelming. You have work,
right.
you have family to deal with, and then sometimes you even lose track. But then when you go into that secret place every day, it's like God keeps reminding you, okay, this is the path I want you to be in. Just moving that path. Take every day one step at a time. Don't rush the process.
Yeah.
Just live life. But
Hmm.
then acknowledge that this is the plan God has for you, and then this is what I want you to work in every day when you go in that secret place. So thank you so much, Mabel, for that answer. And I'm so glad you were able to find it without me
Yes.
telling you what to do, but you figuring it out for yourself.
Yes. 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 It's quite important.
Yes. Okay. So now we'll go into more career related questions. You've led teams, you've optimized systems. How do you balance the structure? How do you balance strategic structure with human centered leadership? dealing with humans is very difficult. How do you balance that? How do you try to keep everybody, I mean, drag
Yeah.
everybody along with you? You want to see good, so how do you drag the structure and the human beings in that structure along with you
Yeah.
to achieve results?
Yeah. I mean, leadership is tough.
Mm,
Yeah. If any leader will be honest with themselves, leadership is tough. And much like operations, I always say that operations is like 50% your expertise or the technicalities, or maybe the
mm,
tools we're working with, the structure we put together,
mm,
and all of that. And 50% of it sits with your emotional intelligence.
exactly.
So it brings me to a story where one of my experiences, so this time I was an operations manager with a petroleum haulage company. It was so big, we had to manage about 5 departments, and I was overseeing all those 5 departments. Mind you, this is a company I was, just brought in to help build a structure,
Yeah.
because it's a family. First of all, it was a family business, or it's still now a family business.
Mm,
Uh, the owner had died, and now the children were supposed to, continue the
mm,
legacy of the man by maintaining the reputation of the business. But the rest of the kids were just interested in the money, and just one person just really was just into maintaining that legacy. So they bring me in to help build the systems, and I'm giving you this background and context to let you know that of
yeah.
course there's some money laundering elsewhere.
There's a lot of
People just,
politics.
right? People just want to pick money and spend and do all of that.
Yeah.
And you, this young girl, they brought you from somewhere. At the time, I had just given birth to my second one. He was just, was it 10 months old?
Mm,
Yeah, yeah, he was just 10 months. I had to go back to work. But the beautiful thing for me is that my husband and I had agreed that I'll just have the kids and then go back into work. So
mm,
when I moved from being the operations manager in the branch manager in Cape Coast,
mm,
I left that place because of marriage. I had just
yeah.
newly married,
Mm,
and then we told ourselves, no, we don't want to just have a baby in the first year. Just love on each other for a year, and then the baby's coming. So, so I took a career break, but that career break was a break to actually work on the idea that had received funding from my director.
yeah.
So it was really not a break for me.
Okay.
So that was the time that I actually bought myself to put the system together, to put the process of just procuring the hair, understanding the business,
Mm,
speaking to the vendors in China and India, just
mm,
all of that.
mm,
Easy if you think about it. But right after the business launched and it came onto the market, I was still taking just a cool break. And so that was when we now decided to have the kids, and then I go back into full time work after the kids. And we
okay.
had decided to just have 2 kids.
Okay.
So after the second baby, now I have the job, I have the opportunity to head that petroleum haulage company. And I saw once I got to the office, I reviewed the books, I saw everything that was going on. I saw that, this business is bleeding out through a lot of holes,
Mm,
a lot of holes. And I said no. So it was a very simple structure that I put in place. And it had to do with the finances. If you're taking money, there has to be a petty cash that goes with it. You are signing, who takes it is signing, who's approving it is also signing, right? So that we can put faces and, just numbers,
yeah. To
faces.
whatever is going out.
Yes. And it pissed people off. So that structure, people were resisting the change. Mind you, this is where, as an operations manager, you apply emotional intelligence.
Mm,
This is a whole new twist for them. They are used to the old way of, the business had been in existence over 20 years.
mm,
It's the biggest petroleum haulage company in Koforidua. They own about 6 total stations. I'm managing all of that. I have to, and then 2 other gas stations. You have to make sure the systems are working in one station, and then whatever is working, you amplify for the rest.
mm,
And so with this one, People are just resisting this new change. Why do we have to sign that we're taking money? Why do you have to also sign that you're approving? Like, why do we have to wait for approval? This is our daddy's business. Do you know how long it has been? Do you know how long we have been applying
But
whatever
why did they
system,
hire you in the first place?
right? Well, they agreed that they didn't hire me. It's the higher ups, right? It's leadership that hired me. And they're not privy to the kind of discussions we have had in those rooms, and they do not just understand why. So the onus was on me to actually apply emotional intelligence
Mm,
and just carry the people along and just make sure that just change management here is effective.
yeah.
And it was tough. It was
I
tough.
can
Tough
imagine.
for a number of reasons. The major one was the fact that I was young and I was dealing with people who were old. And you would think that this would be easy for me because all my life I have been the youngest in
Mm,
leadership. I was just 22 or 23 and I was heading a branch.
mm,
And supervisors that were under me who were supervising the staff members below were much older than
older
me.
than you.
And so you would think that I'm used to this, I have built resilience, I have much experience. But you would have the experience, you will build the resilience, but when it does hit you in the face, reality is totally different. And I had to make the system work because making it work will mean that it will save the business a lot of money.
Mm,
And if this system is able to work, it will continue on for the longest time the business is in operations for.
mm,
It's really, really important. How was I able to do it? How was I going to do this? When you enter the office and you've printed out these petty cash forms, you're telling them, well, this now we're now going to do this. How is that going to get their buy-in? And that's the difficult part for every leader,
yeah.
to get the buy-in of your team
Yeah.
so that you can understand your vision, and then we can all successfully just move the plan from paper to
To
execution.
execution.
So what I did was I had to engage the other supervisors for all the stations, and it was pretty much like a mini workshop. You have to make sure you're sensitizing the people so that, like you're saying, how do you work the structure
Mm,
with moving the people? So you have to make them face the structure. You have to make them understand the structure
mhm,
while you're applying this structure. And it's so easy when you make people see that, what, this thing is implemented to protect you.
mm,
And when you say that, they are just sitting there thinking, because I'm telling them, if you don't approve this money and you're giving it out, and the auditors come in auditing, they're saying that, so where's this X amount of money? And this person says, I didn't come here to take the money. What are you
mhm,
going to do?
mhm,
But with this form, you sign, you are here, you approved maybe 5,000 Ghana cedis for whatever reason. And then this person signs, he receives it, the 5,000 Ghana cedis for whatever reason. The
mhm.
form is there to show
Where the money is going.
exactly where the money was from. You're able to track
Yeah.
the money, right? The movement of the money,
Mm,
and it protects you. So no, now nobody can come in here and say that, Nelson, I'm the supervisor here at Total Two,
mm,
right? I'm the supervisor here at Total Two, and Nelson, I gave out money to whoever. I gave out money to Pearl. Pearl can never say that she didn't take money, because why? Pearl's signature now sits on the petty cash form,
yeah.
and now they're sitting there looking at me like, we are the same people who said we will not apply the system. It's too a but now we'll do it. You know, we got the buy-in.
Yeah.
And now I speak to my director, Dr. Bray, where he tells me, Mabel, you have been so instrumental here. That simple system continues on, and it's saving us a lot of, you were able to help us with a lot of structure. It was just one of the things that's happened over there. And so it's really important to be able to move the structure with along with the people, or to find just synergy, or just,
Mm,
sync
mm,
over there. You have to make sure you're getting the buy-in, and you have to make it about them.
yeah.
It's if you look at the Bible principles that we live by.
Yeah.
What does Jehovah tell? He tells us it's for our
Oh,
own good.
yeah. For our own good, for
Yeah,
our own protection.
right? He put those systems in place for us. Do not fornicate.
Hmm.
It's for our own good. Because if you
Hmm.
do, you're losing the protection of him.
There are consequences to it too.
Exactly. And then physically, you're exposed to so many other things. You can
Hmm.
be sick, you can, just a
Hmm.
number of things.
Hmm.
And so wait till you're married before you do this. It's for our own good. And so if you see that the structure is there to protect you, it's harder for the people to resist.
Hmm.
Yeah. So it's just one of the ways that um, it's just one of the ways to be able to move the people along or to just get the buy-in of the people to move with the structure of the system that has been put in place. Yeah.
Okay. Um, Bimpama, did you want to ask a question? Okay, yeah. Oh, okay,
It
great.
was a mistake.
All right. Next question. Okay, okay. Um, it's like you're answering all the questions in just one question.
Mhm.
Sorry, a moment. I'm now spanning through the questions and I'm trying to figure out what
Ah,
hasn't been
girl.
done. Okay. Okay. So there's this one here. So was there a moment where um you realized that your career needed to reflect more on your personal values, and once you realized that, um, what changed?
Thank you so much, girl.
I know.
So
I know.
I'll
There's
say,
one example that I'm looking for. If you hit that example, I know that Mabel, you're my friend officially.
now the pressure is on me, right? To hit that example.
Oh, don't worry. Feel free. Feel free.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It was a bit. But the thing is that I'll say that my career has, like I said, it has always centered around my principles. And I always lead with what I believe in.
Mm,
You know, I'm so proud of what I've come to learn, particularly from the Bible, and the opportunity to just apply it every day in my life. Um, where people sought change from me, they saw that I it's hard for me to conform. One powerful thing that I've seen in my career is that I was telling my sister, I think last year, that you would think that it's just random. You think that the first time I was asked to head a branch, like it was a random. It would look like a random thing, but my previous role had prepared me for that.
mm,
And what was my previous role? I was serving as a national service personnel
mm,
at Institute of Chartered Accountants,
mm,
and I was sent to the administration department. Oh, and boy, I worked so hard. I moved from being in uni, typing out my assignments, as even sometimes I would not be shy to admit that I had some friends, male friends, right, who would type it out for me
mm,
because economics, we're doing a lot of math. We have to find these symbols here. I'm like, Charlie, I can't find this on Excel. I'll work it
mm,
out, give it to you. Possible, have you been able to type out yours? Okay, please, please, please type it out for me. And he'll do it. Sometimes the class is so large, we have to work in groups. I would want to do the manual work, as in, the first part of the work by writing because I don't want to type,
yeah.
right? And I didn't know it was going to affect me so much. So I come into ICA. There's another funny story to that one. I walk into ICA with my dad. Mind you, they had posted me to offense or somewhere so far. And then my dad says, "No, yeah, there's no way you're going there. I mean, no." And I said, "But okay, can we just go see the place?" And my dad's okay, let's go. So we go to Offenso. And so far, my dad said, so we will not get to this place. And it was a school. So we saw Offenso, something, and then we went to the school and says, "No, it's not this Offenso. The other Offenso is close to Sunyane. So that's where you've been
Ah.
posted." I'm like, I said, okay, so dad, you said I won't do it. So now I won't do it. So let's go. I agree with you. I won't do it. And they told us we have to come to the secretariats at Kumasi and then, speak to them and find a change somehow. So we get there and they told us, oh, often, so I am the head over there. You can work under me. And my dad says, no, my daughter doesn't want to go there. So please find us a place. And they said, okay. There are two institutions that have brought a request, right? But they are looking for people with this GPA. They're
Hmm.
looking for people to do this. So I think you fit. So choose. Will you go to ICA or will you go to this other institution? And my dad is sitting there like, hey, God is so wonderful. So my daughter has moved from not finding a place to now having the opportunity to choose.
Choose. Yeah.
And if it's not Jehovah God, like who is it?
Yeah.
Right? And then I chose ICA because it's in Hojo, is in town. I
Hmm.
know
Hmm.
my way around. And then I chose ICA. So we went there, and then the lady saw me and she says, who is coming to do the service? You.
Hey.
And she said she gives that impression because one, I'm wearing this see-through top with my long nails, with my hair,
With your
and
human
he
hair.
thinks,
She can't
right,
mind.
right, he thinks my daddy is somebody who's coming to sign on at ICA to write exams and not somebody with me. I just walked in alone, and so she was shocked when I told her that, oh, so meet my dad. This is my dad, and she looks at me and she looks at my dad and she's like, God, like why did they send this girl to me? Why did they send this girl to me? But yeah, I told her, Sandra, I'm stuck with you. Okay. So you teach me everything you know. So I went in there telling myself I don't know much,
Hmm.
right? I've done internship, but all the internship I did, I wasn't front and center with ops. I didn't have to do anything admin. I The closest I got to admin was being a receptionist. And that's that. So I told her, teach me anything you want me to do. And that came with a bit of bully here and there,
Bullying, yeah, yeah. Because even from the
just
first impression, cry, who cry anything?
right. And I was like, oh no, you don't worry. You just teach, and I'll just be quiet.
Hmm.
So I think humility is key.
Yeah.
Okay, being honest with yourself is also key.
Hmm.
Just admit to yourself that you don't know something, and
Hmm.
just be willing to learn.
Hmm.
And that 1 year taught me a lot
Hmm.
of admin stuff.
Hmm.
And so when I was told to go head the branch, I didn't go into the branch not knowing my way around building systems or comparing one structure
Hmm.
in a very solid institution to another structure
Hmm.
in another solid institution.
Hmm.
So I was able to compare those two structures in operations,
Hmm.
and I could tell that there's a flaw here.
Hmm.
Why don't we mimic the system?
Hmm.
We can improve on this. Why don't we add on this?
Hmm.
So in my career, everywhere I've been has been a place of learning. I
Yeah.
have been gathering experiences for the next role. So
Hmm.
sometimes in this current role as a program coordinator here in the nonprofit space, I always ask myself like, so I know that the future is really going to be bright. So where else would I go with this ton of experience?
Yeah.
Right? I always ask. So I have been guided by that, right from moving into the operations manager at the Coachella Knowledge Company. All the things I learned under my director, all the emotional intelligence. There
Hmm.
were moments where I even broke down in my director's office
Hmm.
and I cried because
Hmm.
it was so much.
Hmm.
The tyranny, the opposition, it was just overwhelming. But going through those processes, it built me, it took me through the fire. And moving from that region, moving from that position to heading the department of sales and marketing in a startup, building the system from scratch, it was another experience. I came
Hmm.
into, and that story too is so phenomenal in the sense that I come into this startup, I see this role,
Hmm.
the operations manager role, of
Hmm.
course. What else should I apply for? I have been in operations all my life.
Hmm.
And so I applied for this role, but I'm being interviewed as if I'm going to head a marketing department. And during the interview, I asked them, why are the interviews centered so much around marketing? You're asking me if I can design in Canva. If you're asking me if I have moved things around in social media,
Mm.
you're asking me a whole lot. I kindly ask why. And they tell me, well, we see in your CV that even when you were a business manager, a branch manager in Cape Coast, you were able to build a team, a marketing team. And so we feel like you're fit for the sales and marketing role. And I said, oh my God, why did I put this on my CV? Like, it's true, I did that. I built a team in that region. That marketing team still exists till now,
Yeah.
since 2016. It's still there. I did that. I built that team. But I mean, I don't want you to see that and give me the market. No, that's entirely different. You're moving me away from my comfort zone.
Yeah.
And they asked me, no, but can you design on Canva? I said, yes. I remember very well, my very good friend now said me, he says, can you design on Canva? I said, yes, I can design. Can you do social media management? I said, yes, I do that for my hair brand, Click Hair, I do that. Have you sponsored any ads? I said, I do that. Have you converted? So yes, I have done that. I got sales from those ads. I've converted them. So why are you shying away from it? So right then in that interview, I knew that I wasn't getting the operations role, which I was really, really bummed
Yeah.
about. And they said, no, we want you to manage any project that is centered around sales and marketing. Trust me, that role was tough. That role broke me and put me back together in one piece. It is, it's in that role that I saw that, and not just me, people around me and my team. And yeah, I mean, yes, Joseph, if you're laughing, it's an order. It really did break me. But it's in that role that I saw so much growth in my career, in how I present myself. That role taught me to listen more than I see on the surface. Because if you're
Mm.
attending to clients, you need to understand their needs to meet them there. If you don't understand them, you cannot convert them into clients. And so that role taught me a lot. And we're doing presentations every week. We had to tell the leadership what we plan to do in this week, what our blockers were, a whole lot. The numbers were a different ball game together.
Together.
And putting out the project on social media, I saw that I really, really enjoy doing that.
Which you did.
And
Which you did so well. I won't lie.
thank you so much.
Which you
Thank
did
you so
so
much.
well. Yeah.
And with, together with the help of the team at the time, all the ads that we put together, all the sales and marketing efforts, really, I mean, to have ads go on and to see conversions in about $20,000 in a
Mm.
span of 6 months, and it was amazing. It was really, really amazing. But at the time, looking at our targets, it was still,
Mm.
it's sales is a numbers game. If you meet the targets, it's
Mm. It increases. Yeah.
yes, it's multiplied. And so you have to go on and reach higher and higher. And in that role, to be told that, well, this year you are the best performing, staff. Like it was amazing.
Mm.
I saw the most growth over there, but I cried the most tears in that role. And I felt like the work I did with my hair brand also prepared me for that. The work I did in operations as a branch manager prepared me for this. So if I went to the branch um, and said that, oh, I'm a branch manager. Why are you giving me targets? It's a new branch. I understand that. I have to create visibility for the branch. But
Mm.
why are you giving me targets? Why are you giving me,
Mm.
these are for sales. You don't have a salesperson here. In fact, you
Mm.
don't have an IT, a social media manager here. So I'm not going to do the work. Then I'll be stuck. I wouldn't have it sitting on my CV. It wouldn't be opening more doors for me. Right? So I feel like one major thing in my career has been that one role, my current role, prepares me for the next. And now I'm able to do that so well because I have reflected and seen the trend. And so I go into every role telling myself that, well, this is a new place. no matter how much I feel I know about it, it's a new place. So this is what we're going to do, Mabel. We're going to learn everything quickly. We're going to learn as much, absorb so much of what is done here, the system here, the culture here, and we're just going to adapt. And we're going to run quickly with what we're learning. And so I remember I told myself at my previous employment where I was head of sales and marketing. It was a new role, but I told myself and I told my coach that one time in our check-in, he asked me, Mabel, how are you doing? Have you cried today? Because it was the order of the day for me. I was just crying. I was just crying. Like it's crazy. I didn't know I was such a crybaby. I was just crying so much because I want to move the needle so fast, but I feel like I'm slow. And my coach will tell me, but you're doing it. Look at the copyrights. Look at the caption on this post. Like it's amazing. Because of that, I'm pulling you into this other work. This other person has seen the work you're doing here. So do you have more room? We're giving you another gig over here. I'm like, are you crazy, Sydney? Are you telling me this? And he says, yes, we're giving it to you. So do you want that other role? So you see, it was opening more doors for me.
Yeah.
But he told me, but I really want to know how you are doing before you answer that, before you tell me you take it or not. How are you doing? And I told him that, Sydney, well, this is a new place for me. One, it's a startup. I have to build a system alongside the team that we have. I'm used to being in an old organization. By old, I mean an existing organization
Yeah.
where they already have the system. And then you apply the system and you see loopholes and you're able to, close those loopholes
Mm.
and enhance others that are
Yeah.
working. But this one, we are supposed to build a system. We're told to just go and do whatever we want. Come back and tell us if it works, we're going to amplify that. And so it's a new school for me, but I'm willing to stay. I'm staying with the mindset that I'm in school, I'm learning,
Mm.
but I'm being paid to learn. And he says that he looks at me and says, that's a great mindset. I said, yes, it's the only way that I can continue to be here and just be sane because my mind is always, it's just crazy all the time. And he says, well, continue with that mindset and continue to prove a point. Prove to yourself you can do it. And that mindset took me on for over a year, showing everyone and even myself that indeed we can do the work if we really apply ourselves to doing it. And you see, that work I did over there also also prepared me for my current role
Yeah.
because I sent the link to apply for this role. And in the job description, I see social media management in there. I'm like, this is crazy. It's like they came to me to ask me what you can do, and they put it on the job description. Of all the things, of all the things in operations, like who does social media management or community management, even under operations? I mean, I'm doing partnerships, I'm doing this and that, but how do you add social? So I told my friend, you know, I'm sitting somewhere, you sent me this link to apply. I'm not really motivated, but looking at the job description, I'm highly motivated because I feel like the job description, they wrote it for me. So I went into the role telling myself that the job is cool.
Yeah.
You know, I don't even care who I'm competing with. And I don't care that I haven't worked in non-profit before.
Yeah.
I'm going to get it because the job description is for me.
It's for you.
And it was a long road, but eventually I got in because I had already prophesied it
Yeah.
into
Yeah.
existence. So I'm guided by one thing that any current role I'm in, I have to know that it's preparing me for the next. So I have to be intentional with everything I'm absorbing, with the learning journey, making sure that I'm learning as much
Mm.
because I don't know which one task would plunge me into
Into
another.
another.
Yeah.
So you mentioned the example actually. So
So you play with me. Which
um,
example is that? You share it.
so you mentioned the example. Don't worry. We'll go deep into it offline.
All right. All
Then
right.
we end up going to more details.
Oh,
Yes.
true.
So, one last question, and then we'll ask questions from our audience. Oh, it's 6 p.m. already. Wow. Um,
Yes.
has there been any point in your career where it's been more of you are in there for survival, or you are just in there to learn? How has it been for you? Have there been rules where you say, okay, look, I'm just here to get my money and go, and there have been rules where you're like, okay, I'm here, I want to learn, I want to grow? Has that, because a lot of young people are struggling with that, and I don't know, maybe they would need some guidance based on the answer you give for this question.
Right. Pearl. Life is real,
Yeah.
and the struggles are also real. I mean, looking back, which role would I say that I was in there for the money? I feel like you don't immediately go into it thinking that's okay, well, it's so bad. I feel like in the beginning, you have the newbie jitters. You're happy
Mm,
to be here.
mm,
You're happy to just make a mark,
mm,
let people, let your, at least your employers see that um, you're actually a good fit for the role, and so
yeah.
you want to just do well. But it's later on, if systems are not working enough, if those systems do not speak to your goals, if there's a shift, um, if there's a shift away from just what you're looking for, if those systems or just everything in the organization is not in alignment with what you want, it's only then that you say that, okay, now let me just exist for the money.
Yeah.
I mean, there's this thing we say in Chi that um yɛde adwuma bɔ na ɛhwehwɛ foforɔ. You don't
Mm,
just leave the
mm,
because you hate it,
mm,
but you continue to be in it in anticipation that you find a new one. Because of course,
mm,
recruiters would love you if you're still in employment.
yeah.
It's easier to find work if you're in another one, right? You don't even look desperate. You're even able to bargain better
Yeah.
because you don't look so desperate. But you might never know. I might be wearing the desperado as a dress, but you wouldn't know
Mm,
because I'm still
in there.
yes, I'm still in it. So I think that for maybe a few of the roles, or maybe just one, I would say that towards the end, I felt like I needed elevation. There was one point in my life where I was in that particular role that I felt like I'm too big for this organization. And it's not in any way to brag. It's just that it was just a feeling I had that it's time for elevation.
Mm,
And so I would get off the train, because sometimes I used to take the train to work from Tema. I don't know if any of us have taken the train to work before. Do you even know the train exists in Ghana? Do
oh
we
yeah,
know?
yeah. Some of us
No,
know
who
because of you.
else knows? Okay. So, well, sometimes I would take the train to work, and on the train ride, on the journey, I would be praying, and I could feel it. I could feel it so hard.
Mm,
It was time to move.
mm,
And thinking about it, looking at the time when I was feeling what I was feeling,
mm,
and the time when the breakthrough came for me to move, I would say it was a long time. And sometimes I sit down and ask myself, like, why did it have to take so long? Like,
yeah.
I have to feel it and feel like it's happening now. Because even at the time when I was feeling it, I had a conversation with my leadership, and I told them, well, it's time for me to go because there are other things I need to be able to move higher. Now, I have hit this target. I'm doing well. You guys have said it. You said, oh, you are the best performing staff. Maybe but there are other things that I'm not getting approvals for to aid my work. Okay. And so it's like a linear growth.
Yeah.
I'm expecting to,
Yeah.
climb.
Yeah.
And that place being in, some people call it stability because I just going to work and just getting paid. But I feel like we can get more. Why stay here?
Mm,
provide this and that, and we can move. But later on, I came to understand because I mean, that culture in that business was beautiful.
Mm,
It was a flat hierarchy, um, flat hierarchy position, for want of a better word. There was no sort of leader, maybe a leader, but we wouldn't say that this position is much higher than that. Okay,
mm,
we were all heads in our various departments. Um, and so we could borrow, just form ad hoc teams when we needed one side of the work to shine.
yeah.
And as a project manager overseeing head of sales and marketing activities, I could just borrow some team members,
Yeah.
form a smaller team to aid the work that has to be done. And it was the same for the other the CX department would borrow us, we just come together and do this
Yeah.
work. You know, it was just beautiful. And our leaders were our friends, they were our coaches.
Mm,
But so it was easier for us to understand them um, when they finally came out to speak to us
mm,
and share the reasons why there were some blocks
mm,
along that line.
yeah.
And so I was like, so as if Jehovah, you knew I was going to get to this point. In July, I was feeling I had to leave. In fact, we had a sit down. I had a sit down with the leadership and told them I want to leave. And you know how it is. They will convince you to stay.
See.
I felt like it was a good thing to stay. It was Jehovah telling them, it's not yet time. You're feeling the elevation, but honey,
Yeah.
it's not time. Stay and soak up more. Stay and learn more. And so I did. There was one point I even told my husband, today I'm just, going to do it. And then the following night he called me and said, honey, we agreed that you're going to leave, but I think you should stay a while. I'm like, are you crazy? Like, what? Like, you cannot move me from this point to, like, you
Yeah.
know, stick to it. We just agreed that I was going in, I was going to work,
Out
with
of
my
there.
fortune and say
Yeah.
that next month. But it wasn't even going to be easy because they were family. These are
Yeah.
people I've come to like.
Yeah.
Our leaders were like our big sisters, like our friends. But it was time to go. Eventually, that time came, and the exit was beautiful. You see, the exit was beautiful. Everybody could see it was time for each of us to move away and just
Mm,
shine
yeah.
elsewhere
Yeah.
because we have gone through the system. We have learned so much from these leaders. But crazy things happen in business, and sometimes um, we staff members are affected, and and that's pretty much what happened. But I got the elevation right before the end happened,
Yeah.
and so sometimes it's important to just wait it out.
Mm,
Sometimes you feel that you need to leave. You feel that okay, I don't have to stay here anymore.
mm,
Just wait it out. Wait it out. It might not make sense right now. So you might even come to work with your head hanging low, just you're not happy to everybody can tell you're not happy to be here. Or people can tell that you are going bigger than the role you're in.
yeah.
Just find that humility to stay. You might be feeling it in your guts that elevation is so close. You can taste it, you can smell it. And for me, on some other days, I could feel it so hard. Okay, but I didn't know what that elevation even meant.
Yeah.
To I
You didn't
didn't know
even know
how.
where it was even going to come from.
I didn't. I had
Yeah.
no reason. I had no idea. I had no reason to believe it was going to come from this direction or that
Yeah.
direction.
Yeah.
But I had certain offers on the table, like I was mentioning. My
Yeah.
director would tell me that okay, because of the work you're doing here, this other businessman has seen this company has seen that. So do you want to branch off to? And I'm like, no. I know myself. I have to handle my home. I have to handle spiritual activities.
Mm-hmm.
Some people just go to worship. Others worship and then preach.
Mm,
Others also worship and sing. There are lots of things that we do.
yeah.
And my spiritual activities are a lot. My family activities are a lot. I don't think is wise for me to take on all of. I was just honest with myself. The
Yeah.
money's worth. I could have combined it. It would have been fantastic. But I learned a very hard lesson. I lesson a hard way, I should say. And so I had moved away from, just taking on things that will overwhelm me, all in the name of money.
Yeah.
And so I didn't. And so sometimes you might be in that situation. Sometimes you might feel like you need a promotion, the company is not even giving it to you. Or they told you that, when you start after 6 months, we're going to give you 50% raise or 20% raise. And that raise never came. And just because of that, we are not happy. And of course, we are not supposed to be happy.
Happy. Yeah.
Because, I mean, why do you lie to me?
Naturally, you will not be happy.
We will not be happy.
Yeah.
You see, it would have been different if that offer wasn't on the table. But you told us, right, during the interview, and maybe it's not happening. But please wait it out. Now, I'm very grateful to my husband for making me not leave that business at the
Yeah.
time.
Yeah.
I'm grateful that even when I could taste the elevation, it didn't happen right there and then because
Yeah.
that time I had walked to leadership and told them I wanted to leave. I even had left. I wouldn't have met who I met to bring me
Mm.
into this current role. I met that person in my previous role.
Mm.
So imagine I had left. How was I going to find the
Mm.
elevation? Maybe the elevation would have still come, but would have taken a longer time.
Mm.
So sometimes we are in it to make the money because we don't find the joy in it anymore. It doesn't happen right in the beginning. Sometimes it happens deep into the work when we feel like some other things are not feeding our joy around the work.
Mm.
Some systems are not moving fast enough to make us do the work. Some promotions or some expectations are not being met. And so there's nothing wrong for being in the work just to make the money and go. But there should be an out. There should
Yeah.
be a plan. And sometimes the plan can only be that you're leaving it for God to decide. You're praying about it. And that waiting time, you're still preparing yourself to move. Do you see? So I don't feel there's anything wrong with going in to make your money. But there should always be an out for you. There should be a plan. There should be a plan.
Gabriel, thank you so much. Conversation hasn't gone as planned, but I think you've touched on every point I wanted to be touched on. Um, I have 10 people here. Okay, so 8 people excluding Mabel and myself. If you have any questions for us, please feel free to raise your hands up, and then we would call you. If you are not comfortable speaking, please you can use the chat um, to send your questions, and then we would answer. If there are any comments, anything to add up to what Mabel has said, that's also welcome.
Yes. I'm taking
Yes.
notes.
Yeah, we are taking notes. We're all here to learn. Okay. Questions, comments. Anyone? Teacher Mabel. It means that you have taught us very well because normally if there are no questions or comments, then it means that we are aligned. Hi, Stephanie. Yes,
Oh,
thank you.
thank
I
you so
think
much.
yeah, she said she sent the message at the right time. Yeah. Um, I'm seeing some new faces here. Louis Jacobs. Are you a fan of Mabel? This is the first time I'm seeing you. Okay, I don't know. Sometimes I just want to know who is on, and I can maybe interact with them personally after.
Yeah.
Okay, that's great. Oh,
Oh, thank you so
thank you so
much.
much. Okay, Joseph, please go ahead. Hi, Joseph. Hi, Joseph. You have your hands raised. Is it intentional or it was unintentional? Okay, I think it's gone down. Okay. Mabel, thank you so much for Joseph.
Sorry. Yeah.
Okay.
Hello. Can you hear me now?
Yes, we can.
Hi, Dr.
Yeah. I was still muted and I was talking. I thought
Oh, okay.
I had muted myself. Yeah. So I couldn't join the meeting on time, but I mean it's been really insightful for me. I've learned a lot in this short time that I've joined. But I have one question. Like you have worked in the managerial space, and I would like to know how you are able to um, deal with like the team you are working with. Sometimes some people have like a lot of egos and all that. I would like to know how you handle that to make sure that your team is able to achieve its goals. Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Joseph. And yeah, speaking and being on mute, it happens to all of us. It's crazy. But yeah, thank you for your question. So I'm currently not in a managerial role. I'm supporting the team. But I mean, of course, over the years being a manager, I've come to know that your ego will not get the work done, right? Whether it's with me or it's with any of the team members. Thank you, my brother. Whether it's with me or any of the team members, egos do not, like, it doesn't get the work done. So, what is important is that, like, it's one key thing I learned in project management is as a leader, you should be able to facilitate the work. And what facilitation means is that you are able to properly communicate and create clarity around the vision that you seek to execute. If you cannot do that, you have failed. I'm sorry. And so to have the expertise as a manager, to know the right tools to use, to know how to properly plan, to know how to execute. It's like I mentioned early on in the conversation, it's 50% of the work done. But to have the emotional intelligence to create an environment where it's psychologically safe for everyone to thrive, for everyone to speak up around the work or around anything, any problems that may be happening, anything at all. To be able to do that as well is another 50% of the work. And so you have to, as a manager, as an ops person in leadership, you should be able to find how to bring those two things together, your expertise and your emotional intelligence. It is what will aid you to move the plan from paper to reality. And so let's say that we have a team member or the two people on the team that are not really on talking terms. The fact that they are struggling, it shouldn't affect the work. And I've heard a lot of people say that, I came to work, we just came here to work. So if I won't talk to this person, you know, she like, she's so disrespectful. Her disrespect is so distasteful, like I will not speak to her. We don't have to laugh. When it comes to the work, we'll do it. Please, how many of us have heard that before? And how many of us have said that before?
A lot of people do that, and
Right? A
that's
lot of
what
people do that.
social media also tells us to do.
And that's crazy. I'm sorry that I have to say that, but it really is. Like I try to find space in my mind to understand that. And when I say that all the time at work, my colleagues will say that you dear, you are the nice Mabel is just too nice, so you will not understand some of these things. But I feel like if you want to work successfully together, you should create peace. Why can't we transfer the Bible principles that we know into work? Why do we think that it's only one aspect of our life that should experience that? We have to be well rounded individuals. What we believe in spiritually should be applicable in every aspect of our lives. At least that's what I believe in. And so, if I want to find peace at home, what I would do to find peace at home, it should not be different from what I do to find peace at work. My being self-aware has also allowed me to know that I hate to be in an environment that is filled with tension. I will struggle. And I'm not even shy to say that. I have really come to know that about myself. And so if I'm on a team and my team member, I know how she behaves, I know how he speaks. And now maybe Wisdom is not speaking in a way that I know that he usually does. Maybe every afternoon, Wisdom goes to get lunch, and I tell him, oh, he always also gets lunch from me. I don't have to walk. He because he's going there, he also gets the lunch, or he takes my money, gets the food for me. But today, Wisdom just went away without prompting me. Like, I have to know that there's something wrong. What do you do about that? You just sit there and just play it out. I mean, like, if he doesn't want to do that, I will not baby you. I mean, we all came here, we are not friends. So we don't have to leave it. I mean, that is totally wrong. To get the work done, as a leader, if you see these things, even as a team member, if you notice this thing, you have to make sure there's peace. It is the only way that we can work together. And you see, sometimes we lie to ourselves that I don't really care for this person. If I leave work, I don't think about Wisdom anymore. So he can go to hell if he's angry at me or not, if he doesn't want to speak, all those things. You are lying. You will come to work in the morning, you come to the office, and you will feel the tension. And that tension, that awkwardness is unhealthy,
You know, the funny thing is that we spend most of our lives at work, and then we feel
right?
like our workmates are just workmates, but actually our workmates are actually family.
They're family. They're family. We spend a lot of the hours with them. Our kids spend so many hours in school. It's the same thing we're doing at work, right? And so if you cannot create a peaceful environment at work, it's then I don't know what we're doing. And as a leader, if you see these things as an operations manager, or as a leader in any form, as a project manager, or whatever you are, if you see this thing, you're supposed to be able to facilitate the peace of the team. Otherwise, the work will not be properly executed. You should create an environment where it's peaceful, so that when you communicate properly, you're speaking with clarity. Effective communication only happens when I speak and I get an exact response I'm looking for. And so if I'm telling the team, we're having an activation here this week, and we have to these details are what's supposed to go in, and we do have that the activation, and those details are not properly followed, or they're not shining, what are we doing? That means I didn't properly communicate. And you have to find the reason why. You might go in deep down and find out that maybe just one English word didn't speak right, or it wasn't translated right, or there are two people on the team that are not working properly together. So our ego has never been able to move the needle in any way. If it does anything at all, it deflates the beauty bubble on the team. And so, if we're leaving with nothing at all, we should leave this call with just one message, that the Bible principles that we know, if we're all Christians or if we're all religious, the principles that we're guided by spiritually, it should be able to work in every aspect of our life. If it's working in our spiritual life, it's working in our families, it should be able to work in our workplaces. It should be able to work in our careers. We should continue to apply that and see the change that will happen. Right? So if we do that, we'll be able to properly manage a team. If we're leaders, we'll be able to properly manage the team and move them away from working with their egos. Yeah, Joseph, I hope I was able to answer you. So that's quite a long answer to your question.
Also, I like to add up. One thing I have realized, I don't know, from managing teams and managing people that are way older than me. Um, Sometimes people, it's true, people have very bad attitudes. Even they have their own misconceptions, their prejudice, and all that.
Right.
One thing I've come to understand, and one thing that has helped me cope in managing teams, is that sometimes most of the time it's not about you. Somebody's reaction towards you is not about you, it's about them mostly. If you react, then it means that you also have something you need to work on. But if it's someone's reaction towards what you are doing, and you've done your introspection, you've gone deep down, and you can't find the answer to what it is, don't worry yourself. Just find a coping mechanism of dealing with the person. Just smile with the person. Oh, hi, how are you doing? Okay, I need to get the work done. Okay, we need to get this and this done. If the person is being rude, if you talk behind my back, it's not my problem. It's you. It's your problem. My issue is that let's get the work done. I'm smiling with you. I'm in good terms with you. If you are not in good terms with me, it's your problem. Do you get it? The aim
Right. I
is
mean,
we should
it's
get the work
right.
done. I've I haven't really worked in many places, but from where I have worked, I am I've built long lasting relationships with people. There were times where I've had misunderstandings with people, but in the long run, I don't know. I throw away that ego and say, okay, we are all human beings. We don't know where we are going to meet each other at the end of the day. I'll still laugh with you. I'll still be friends with you. Um, I've had people who have left the company and all that, and we are very good friends. If I need something, I mean, I can still reach out to them. You don't know where you meet people. Get the work done and just be nice with
Yeah.
people. Leave them, they have their own issues they are dealing with. Don't let that affect your work, and don't let that affect you as a human being. Yes, thank
Yeah.
you.
No, no, Pearl. It's really important. I think you touched on that.
Yeah.
It's really really important, and I've always said this. I think last week I was telling one of my colleagues that it doesn't hurt to speak on the issue. If you're bothered so much about it, um, just speak to the person in question who is bothering you, and just move towards peace. Because I mean, the Bible says, if you're bringing your sacrifice, I think it's in Matthew 6. If you're bringing your sacrifice to me, and you have something against somebody, or somebody else has something against you, that sacrifice will be invalid. So leave it and then go resolve those issues.
Yeah.
So if you're applying that at work, you know that this colleague isn't speaking well with you, or let's say was like I said, wisdom just left off and didn't speak to me. He the first time ever he got lunch without me. If I'm bothered by that act, there's nothing wrong with speaking to wisdom about it. But you see, a lot of the times our egos will not allow us. I mean, if he will not speak to me, then why should I be the one to speak to him? You know, that
Exactly.
kind of thing. It doesn't help anybody. So, in knowing that the work has to be done, it has to be done right, right? And it has to be done right in a good environment. And so, owing to that, I would speak to wisdom and find out what is wrong. Maybe I did something to hurt him unknowingly. If he tells me about it, I should be humble enough to apologize, just
Yeah.
so we can create a peaceful environment so that all of us can thrive in. And you see, if I do that, if I show that act of kindness to wisdom, it will now be his turn to mirror that kind of act towards me or any other person. So I have my brother back at work. Now the work can be done smoothly, you see. And then there are those people to you would speak to and then it won't work. That is not your fault. Like Pearl said, you speak to them and it is their problem now if they choose not to resolve the issue, even when you have confronted them. Sometimes we don't have to be confrontational. Sometimes we can just move on, but our attitudes shouldn't change towards a person. If you think the person did something to hurt you, right? And you refuse to speak on it, then your attitude shouldn't change. You should move on peacefully without speaking on the matter, just to give it time. Because of course we're all human, right? And so, oh, you're very kind with your words, Louis. And so we can just apply those, like if we never go wrong with applying Bible principles in every aspect of our work, particularly at the workplace. If we do that, we'll all thrive. If we're all doing that, our company colleagues or our work colleagues, we will just not see them as just colleagues. We'll see them as a family. And we'll be able to work better and more productively. Thank you, Carl.
Thank you so much. Any more questions? If not, we'll love to end the session here. Thank you so much for your comments in
Yeah,
the chat. Okay,
no question. Sorry,
okay, okay.
no question from my end. Yeah, but I mean, you both have done justice to my question, so I really appreciate. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you, Joseph.
Okay. Thank you so much, everyone. Thank you for being partakers of our webinars all the time. Our topics are not what people are looking for. Our topics are mostly real life issues most of the time. And these things are just to encourage us and to keep us moving. We bring people on here to share their stories for us to feel like we are not alone in whatever we are going through in life. We try to create a family. I've seen people who have connected with other people, made friends with other people. There are episodes where people are inspired by what people are saying and have made connections and are doing exploits. Our numbers are not big, but we are making impact. So please, once we have this live on YouTube, please share. Don't share for me. I've done my part. Share for somebody who needs this, someone who needs to hear this. Um, the likes, the comments, it does nothing to me. It does not do anything to me. I literally don't spend a lot of money putting this together. But we have resources who come and share their stories and all that. And to me, for this to change people's life, that's enough for me. We'll be starting a tech series very soon. We'll bring in tech professionals to also come and share their stories, um, teach us how to do the know-hows and then the how-tos and all that. Details will be coming up very soon, but then we should expect that in the month of May. We are not ending Noteworthy Convos. It's going to be a merge of both. So please be praying for me because I need grace. Yes, please be praying for me because to put this together is not easy. But be praying for me and thank you so much for joining. Your presence, your participation, your questions, your comments. It's very encouraging. Um, if there are no comments, if there are no questions, we'll end off and then I'll see you next month. Thank you so
Yes.
much,
Thank you for
Mabel.
yes. Thank you
Um,
for having me. So,
thank you
it's a
for
pleasure. Yeah.
sharing your story. I mean, not everybody likes to come out to say what they've been through because people feel like somebody's going to hold it against them. No.
Right.
So for you to come on here, share your story with the audience. I mean, for me, I have like a I have some knowledge of some of the things you've been through, but for people to learn from it, thank you for doing this with me. I really appreciate it. God bless you.
Thank you too for help. Thank you. You're doing amazing. You're
Thank you.
doing amazing. We see the future is big for Noteworthy Days,
Yeah.
condos and all that.
Yeah.
Yes. You know I keep telling you this. Like
Yes.
the future is big.
Thank you.
And I love that you're dreaming about it. I love the vision. And I think that it will even grow. The vision will be wide and deep more than we expect it to be.
Yes, it's
Yes.
actually, I don't know, from, I think maybe I'll just share here. From when I started 6 months ago, I didn't know this would be my seventh episode. I think this is my eighth episode,
The
actually.
eighth one, yes. There's
Yes,
the eighth episode.
I
Yes. We've
didn't
been with
see
yeah.
myself counting eight. I
Yes.
will, I will be honest. And
Yeah.
your encouragement, your your presence alone keeps me going, and that I want to thank everyone, yeah, for
Yeah,
that. Thank you. Okay,
you
guys.
do. Thank you so much, guys.
Right.
Thank you for coming.
Bye.
Bye, everyone.
Yeah, thank you. Bye.
Bye, Mabel.
Bye, from. Bye, with them.